Study 6.4 The Torah Code, Teaching the Torah Through Similitudes. The Parable of the Wedding Feast, the Man Without the Wedding Garment. Matthew 22, verses 1 to 14. Shalom, this is the fourth in a series of studies on the subject of Torah. Outline of this study. 1. Definitions and similitudes. Torah Hebrew equals nomos Greek, which equals teaching English. Ainomia equals Torah-less-ness. Ainomos equals Torah-less. Ainomioi equals Torah-less ones. My tongue sings of your word, for all your commands are righteousness. Righteousness equals Yahuwah's commands. Listen to me, you who know righteousness, a people in whose heart is my Torah. Righteousness equals Torah in your heart. Your righteousness is righteousness forever, and your Torah is truth. His righteousness equals righteousness forever. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and trustworthiness the girdle of his waist. Righteousness equals a girdle around his waist. Stand then, having girded your waist with truth. The Torah equals truth. Having put on the breastplate of righteousness. Righteousness equals a breastplate. I greatly rejoice in Yahuwah, my being exults in my Elohim, for he has put garments of deliverance, salvation, on me. He has covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decks himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorns herself with her jewels. Righteousness equals a garment. Salvation equals a garment. And he put on righteousness as a breastplate and a helmet of deliverance on his head. And he put on garments of vengeance for clothing, and wrapped himself with the adore as a mantle. Righteousness equals a breastplate. Let your priests put on righteousness, and your lovingly committed ones shout for joy. Priests put on righteousness like a garment. Awake, awake, put on your strength, O Zion. Put on your garments of splendor, O Jerusalem, the set-apart city. For no more do the uncircumcised and the unclean come into you. Garments of splendor are not worn by the uncircumcised and the unclean. Tehillim 43 speaks of Kedar, mourning in sackcloth or sordid black garments. The answer to those sordid garments is seen in the next verse. Send out your light and your truth. Let them lead me. The Torah is the garment which covers the nakedness of our unrighteousness. Bereshit 49 is the prophecy over Yahudah. In verse 11 it says, he washed his garments in wine and his robes in the blood of grapes. So Yahudah puts on garments which have been washed in wine. I advise you to buy from me gold refined in the fire, so that you become rich, and white garments, so that you become dressed, so that the shame of your nakedness might not be shown, and anoint your eyes with ointment, so that you see. White garments hide our nakedness. 2. Summary of similitudes. Similitudes from the previous study. The Torah equals the way. The Torah equals truth. The commands equal truth. The way equals truth. The word equals truth. The Torah equals life. Similitudes from this study. Righteousness equals Yahuwah's commands. Righteousness equals the Torah in your heart. His righteousness equals righteousness forever. Righteousness equals a girdle around your waist. Righteousness equals a breastplate. Righteousness equals a garment. Salvation equals a garment. Priests put on righteousness like a garment. Garments of splendor are not worn by the uncircumcised and the unclean. The Torah is a garment which covers the nakedness of our unrighteousness. Yahudah put on garments which had been washed in wine. With these similitudes, we are in a position to understand the parable. 3. The parable of the wedding feast, the man without the wedding garment, Matthew 22, 1-14. Our Messiah is addressing the chief priests and the Pharisees. He delivers the parable of the two sons, the parable of the tenants, and the parable of the wedding feast. The Pharisees understand these parables are directed at them. And the chief priests and Pharisees, having heard his parables, knew that he was speaking of them, and seeking to lay hands on him, they feared the crowds, seeing they held him to be a prophet. And Yahushua responded and spoke to them again by parables, and said, The reign of the heavens is like a man, a sovereign, who made a wedding feast for his son, and sent out his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding feast, but they would not come. Again he sent out other servants, saying, Say to those who are invited, See, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen and my fattened cattle are slaughtered, and all is ready, come to the wedding feast. But they disregarded it and went their way, this one to his field, that one to his trade, and the rest, having seized his servants, insulted and killed them. But when the sovereign heard, he was wroth, and sent out his soldiers, Destroy those murderers, and set their city on fire. Then he said to his servants, The wedding feast indeed is ready, but those who were invited were not worthy. Therefore go into the street corners, and as many as you find, invite to the wedding feast. And those servants went out into the street corners, and gathered all whom they found, both wicked and good, and the wedding hall was filled with guests. And when the sovereign came in to view the guests, he saw there a man who had not put on a wedding garment. And he said to him, Friend, how did you come in here not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then the sovereign said to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, take him away and throw him out into the outer darkness, and there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen. Then the Pharisees went up and plotted how to trap him in his own words. When a king arranged a party or wedding, the king would provide the party or wedding clothes for his guests to wear. Then the poor people are not embarrassed by the rich, and if you were not wearing the correct clothes, this was a sign you had not been invited. At the wedding ceremony of Yahushua to his bride, the bride will be standing before Elohim dressed in the righteousness of Yahushua. We will not be dressed in our own righteousness, which is but filthy rags, polite words for used menstrual cloths. The phrase, and he was speechless, in Matthew 22:12 indicates that the man without the wedding garment was without excuse. It was not just that he lacked a wedding garment, but that he did not wear one on purpose. He had defiantly refused to put one on. This explains why the king acted so swiftly and so harshly. Bind him hand and foot, and take him away and cast him into the outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. The king's judgment is not against the man's lack of a wedding garment per se, but that he did not intend to wear one. He was in fact determined not to wear one. The man desired the honor of attending the wedding feast, but he did not want to follow the custom of the king. He wanted to do things his own way. His lack of proper dress revealed his inner rebellion against the king and the king's instructions. He was executed as a rebel. So what is the wedding garment? A garment equals righteousness. Righteousness equals Torah in your heart. Torah-less-ness equals unrighteousness, which equals sin. Therefore, The wedding garment equals righteousness, which equals Torah in your heart. The man was invited, he was called to the wedding, and he attended the event, but he deliberately did not put on the wedding garment. He was saying, we are not under the law, we are under grace. This is the reason he was speechless. He did not have the Torah in his heart, which is a righteous garment to cover his nakedness. This is the reason the king acted so swiftly and without hesitation to condemn him. He was thrown out into the outer darkness, where there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For conclusion, for many are called, but few are chosen. The call clearly relates to the king's invitation to the original guest list, Yisra'ěl and Yahudah, then to mankind generally, the Gentiles, as many as you find, both wicked and good. However, being called and attending the wedding feast is not enough. To be chosen requires obedience to the king's instructions, to his Torah, also known as nomia, or law. You see, the king has dealt with these people before. The prophet Yisra'ěl and Yahudah wrote, "Thus said Yahuwah, stand in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where the good way is, and walk in it, and find rest for yourselves. But they said, we do not walk in it. And I raised up watchmen over you, and said, listen, a voice of a shofar. But they said, we do not listen. Therefore hear, you nations, and know, O congregation, what is upon them. Hear, O earth, see, I am bringing evil upon this people, even the fruit of their thoughts, because they have not listened to my words, nor my Torah, and they rejected it."